Hello, guys.
Hi, Diego.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, Diego.
Okay, perfect. I think it's about to start. Just 1 second. Olá a todos, bom dia. Gostaria de ressaltar que esse painel será conduzido em inglês, então vamos mudar agora para o inglês. Let's switch to in English. Hello, everyone. Nice to have you here. It's a pleasure to receive such good guys as you, such bright minds as you. By means of introduction, my name is Diego Perez. I'm the president of the Brazilian FinTech Association, AB FinTechs, and this panel here is a highlight of the Lithuanian FinTech scenario, focusing on emerging technologies like artificial intelligence, blockchain, and also some features like anti-money laundering, QIC, and everything else that the guys here are going to show about, okay? Just a quick description of the panel. I'll read the short description here. Blockchain and I, the future of AML and fraud prevention, Lithuania, the largest fintech hub in EU. With the advancement of technology and demands of regulators to prevent money laundering and fraud, money laundering trends have changed and developed over the past few years. Keeping up with anti-money laundering regulations can be expensive, and innovative firms can use technology like blockchain and AI to gain a competitive edge. The panel discussion is focusing on technology convergency solutions to solve market problems and sharing experience of the leading Lithuanian companies working in the field of AML, fraud technology, and innovation. And here with us, we have our friends from Lithuania, Andrius Bartminas. Sorry about my pronunciation.
Perfect.
Yeah, okay, perfect. I'll try to do it the best way I can. Domantas, Ciulde, okay. Liudas, Kanapienis, okay, perfect. Okay. Well, I had the opportunity to visit Lithuania on late 2019. It was a great experience. I was one of the panelists of the FinTech event. I was there by invitation of the Lithuanian government, and it was a great experience. I could communicate with bright minds from Lithuania, and I could understand the environment locally. And then I realized, why not to present them to Brazil? Why not to bring the experience that they have developed there in such a good speed, a great pace of development on the FinTech scenario locally. And here we are going to tell about the efforts, the outcomes, and also some use cases of Lithuania as well. So maybe we can start by a self-introduction of all of you. What about start with you, Andrius?
Yeah, so hello everyone. My name is Andrius Bartminas. I am a co-founder and CEO of SuperHow, Lithuanian-based innovation, research, and development lab. So we are focusing on 4 main technologies. So the first is the blockchain and DLT. So this is our main focus and the biggest share of research that we are doing, as well as experience. The second is artificial intelligence. We have some projects in that field, as well as the research, extended reality and quantum computing, that we are also gaining some experience and knowledge. Me, myself, I am business developer and as well as blockchain, certified blockchain architect and business solution analyst. So I work a lot with innovative technologies and innovative companies providing the consultancies as well as the architecture of the final solutions. So I have quite vast experience in the FinTech industry, working with distributed digital identities, working with central bank digital currencies, integrating the distributed finances into existing finance infrastructure, as well as lots of different identity-based and blockchain-based projects. So yeah, this is a short introduction of mine.
Okay, perfect. Nice to hear from you. And I would like to highlight to the audience that you are free to ask some questions to our panelists. We have a chat feature on the right side of the screen. It will be very helpful if you could put the question in English directly, so I don't need to make a proper translation, but that's okay, no worries. If you don't write English properly, you can write it down in Portuguese, and I'll try to make the proper translation, okay? So the next one, hi Domantas, can you introduce yourselves to our audience and tell a bit more about you, about the company that you are related to?
Yes, hello, Diego. Thank you very much. So hello everyone. Firstly, I have to say it's really strange to be here within Brazil community and not in football stadium. But thank you very much for having me today. It's really amazing to be here. My name is Domantas Ciulde. I am co-founder and CEO of company Identify. So a short intro about Identify. So we started our activity in 2017. Our main activity is identity verification, anti-money laundering, and fraud prevention solutions. We are based in Lithuania. We are a Lithuanian startup. But we have customers from all continents, America, Europe, Asia, Australia, and even Africa. 250 companies currently in our portfolio. Also, we have customers from Brazil. Actually, only one customer, but still. So my own expertise is in the fraud prevention sector. I have 10 years experience in this sector. So it would be a short intro about me and our startup.
Okay, perfect. That's amazing to hear from you that you already have a Brazilian customer. Somehow the bridge that we are trying to build here has already started. So we are somehow connected yet to the Brazilian community among with the Lithuanian as well. So I don't know if the next one has... Are you there? Sorry. Just one second, please.
I think Liudas has some technical problems.
Yes. Okay. Until he tried to reconnect, we can try to start the conversation here, and then after when he came up again. Oh no, he's here.
Hi.
Hello. Hi, Liudas.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I just didn't have any sound in my end and had to reconnect. So sorry about that.
No worries.
It's the price of international conference, you know?
Yeah, for sure. Maybe it's the distance. It's not that close.
Just a little.
Yeah, for sure. There's no direct flight, but we are very well connected. No.
That's
okay.
true.
Yeah, so please introduce yourself to our audience and tell about what you have been doing there and what the expectations for you for this panel and so on.
Yeah, hi everyone. So my name is Liudas. I'm the CEO and the founder at Ondato. We are helping the financial institutions to onboard their customers, to validate their data, and basically to perform the KYC and to evaluate their customer base, what they're dealing with. With this panel, I'm really, would like to have the conversation about the future and about the usage of artificial intelligence and blockchain and the possibilities with to find with the money laundering and fraud. And I really have fantastic panelists with me, so I'm looking forward to have this conversation.
Okay, perfect. So we are on the same space, and we are telling something here that we are love to talk to and to share some thoughts that not only fintechs but also technology, and especially how to prevent the frauds and how to properly onboard the clients to the services. Okay, so now let's try to bring some questions here. I'll drop some questions specifically for each one of you. Okay, I can start with Andrius. So I prepared a question, so if you don't mind, I'll read them just to be a great communication here.
Sure.
So, can you please share with us a bit more about SuperHow? Okay, you can speak freely about the company, and what's the role of blockchain technology plays on this venture? Can you also get us a glimpse of regarding the regulatory framework for digital assets in Lithuania and also in European Union?
Yeah, so thank you for the question. It's a great one. Actually, I could speak 2 hours from my side. So shortly about SuperHow and our company. So mainly it was established because of the blockchain and because of the Lithuania's focus and goal to become a competence center of the blockchain in the Europe. So it was one of the goals of ours as well. And we noticed that actually the competences are based on, on the experiences and the resources of the human resources that you're having in the region and in the country, actually. And at that time, there was no company that was focused on the technology level and especially on the blockchain. Everybody was developing the smart contracts. It was in 2018, so it was the year actually of ICO and ICO crash and crypto crash, actually. So we decided to go forward and establish the private R&D lab and attract the best talent to the company, working on a projects, on a blockchain projects, hands-on, doing with research and not only just writing the smart contracts and logic on the blockchain, but rather to understand it at the protocol level and how it works, why it works so, and how it changes the perspective of markets and everything. So mainly because of that, we started with 4. Now we are 20 already during 2 years. So we're quite fast expanding, because yeah, it is difficult to attract the talent who is open-minded, and especially senior level. So because still you need to change your mind how the things work on the blockchain. So with that goal, we established the company and started working. So now we have like 3 big R&D projects funded by European Union. We are working with the central banks on the central bank digital currencies topic, and solving solutions, improving the interfaces, improving the procedures and everything. So we're quite involved also into regulatory environment and forming and consulting our local central bank, as well as participating in ADBA Association as European Association of the Trusted Blockchain Applications. So they're consulting the European Commission. So I'm quite involved in that field. And yeah, the blockchain is the core, actually. Everything in our company is about the blockchain, and most of the projects that is also concerning artificial intelligence has the blockchain flavor or blockchain backgrounds from that perspective. And now we are also focusing on distributed digital identities and self-sovereign identities as well, because it is one of the topics that will help the KYC and anti-money laundering procedures. We are consulting our local central bank as well on that topic. And we have a couple of commercial banks from all over the world that we are consulting on implementations of that. And further speaking about the cryptocurrencies and crypto economy regulation, I would say, so Lithuania is more or less the same as the rest of the European Union. However, our central bank is very innovative and very, I would say, listening to the market and having a conversation rather just opinions and regulating from the high sitting chair. So we have actually crypto market or cryptocurrencies are not regulated until they are deemed to be securities. So the same is in all over the world, except, for example, Nigeria, where all cryptocurrencies are held as securities from the scratch, from beginning, and you have to claim that it is not. In Japan, we have the cryptocurrencies deemed as the digital currencies, so it falls under regulation. In Lithuania, we have this exemption. All the cryptocurrencies are not regulated until they are deemed securities. And we have also quite innovative central bank who is experimenting in the blockchain industry, in the blockchain technology, I would say, about the collectibles. So the bank actually issued the first in the world digital collectible coin on the blockchain. So it has two actually bodies, like seeing it from the crypto world. So it is a NFT as a non-fungible token from one side as a collectible, and the other side is a CBDC, central bank digital currency, because it has the underlying value of the fiat currency of the euro. So it is quite interesting project that we also participated and delivered the solution and the architecture of the whole project. So it's quite exciting.
Amazing. Well, everything you have said now, it's hot topics here in Brazil. We are discussing in a very friendly way how we can build a legal framework for crypto here in Brazil, and all the nuances, like if it's a security or not, and the specifics like NFT as well. And unfortunately, you couldn't be part of the opening lecture presented by the president of the Brazilian Central Bank. It was in Portuguese, so I guess you are not familiar with the language. So he told to the audience that the Brazil is coming to have its own digital currency, the Brazilian version of its CBDC. But now we are constructing a payments infrastructure, and we are developing as well the open banking system for the open finance here in Brazil. And all of them together will may result on the Brazilian digital currency locally as well. And also there's another discussions ongoing, especially for the digital identity as well. Well, Brazil is a very big country. We have more than 200 million people here. I guess it's 210 million people. And we are divided in 27 states. And each state has its own regulation regarding personal identification. So in Brazil, it's awkward because it's possible for you to have ID in one state and another ID in another state. And both are enforced and both works for you. So you can have maybe 27 IDs if you want it. Okay, so the main challenge locally here in Brazil is how to provide a standard for the Brazilian digital identity, and we are putting together not only the government with the FinTechs, but also the tech specialists for the digital and blockchain scenario, how you can eventually use the technology to make a digital identification here in Brazil. So everything you said, it's very important for us to exchange information, exchange experience in order to provide a great discussion here. But now I'll switch to Domantas. I'm very curious about its company and how you are working locally and what you have developed. So as you mentioned in your introduction, I guess identifying as a most wanted company in the FinTech scenario locally, not only in Lithuania, but also in the EU region as well. What can you tell us about the digital security and anti-fraud requirements to operate a FinTech company in the EU? And also, if you could highlight some of use cases for our audience.
Thank you, Diego. We would love to be the most wanted company, but the truth is that our sector is very competitive. Of course, there is big demand in Europe for RegTech solutions. And that is because European Union likes to set clear conditions and requirements for almost everything. Very specific requirements for anti-fraud, anti-money laundering, as well for digital security. In Europe, anti-money laundering regulation sets strict rules for customers' identity verification, sanctions monitoring, transactions monitoring, and extra. For not complying with these rules, companies can be fined and their reputation can be impacted. Also, these rules are going to be more and more strict almost every year. For digital security, there are requirements from GDPR regulation. Every fintech should be concerned about data privacy and data breaches. Data breach could have a very huge impact for a company from reputation and financial sides. So once again, Europe is very strict about digital security and money laundering. Also, I have to mention that European citizens are people who are very concerned about their data privacy. We value companies who are paying attention to digital security and data privacy. So every fintech who is planning to operate in Europe should estimate that great service, user experience, good pricing is very important, but also digital security and anti-money laundering should be a top priority, because it can break your company in one day if something went wrong, yes? So, yeah.
Amazing. Well, here in Brazil as well, we have our own version of GDPR. Locally, we call LGPD, Lei Geral de Proteção de Dados, which is similar to the stands for GDPR. And this legislation came to force recently, and all the companies have to adapt its way to operate and its way to collect information and data from its users. And we are at the association provide some support for the fintech companies in order to offer proper services and for them to be in compliance with the Brazilian regulations. That it's still under construction. That there's an authority for data privacy here pending for approval, but it has been already discussed how it's going to be. And it's a topic that is very important for our fintechs, because one of the great challenges here is how to properly onboard its users. Brazil, as I said, it's a gigantic country, millions and millions of people, and at least 30 or 40 million people here in Brazil do not access banking services. They have been recently digitalized with the platforms here for smartphones and mobile phones as well, but there's a lack of access for financial services here in Brazil for this underprivileged group of people. But as a result, for the pandemic situation around here, Brazil has approved a public allowance, a welfare program for the people here, in order for them to overcome the situation and to keep health and safety to stay at home. But in order for them to receive this public allowance, they had to be bankerized. So we have a Brazilian bank here, which is the major shareholder is the Brazilian government, that provided a digital wallet for them, in order for them to receive the public allowance that was pre-approved by the Brazilian Parliament. But there has been some news relating some frauds and some people that do not need to receive this public allowance applying for the program. And the technology was very important to avoid the situation. But unfortunately, the bad guys is still working, and they are very creative. And it's a big challenge for us here in Brazil to use technology in order to properly onboard the users in the platform. Just to wrap up this topic, is there any similar situation in Lithuania? Is there any public policy for the welfare of the population during the pandemic? There was some interaction between fintech companies locally, or even in another regions, considering that Lithuania is part of the EU community?
I think there is no actually such policies in Lithuania. I'm not sure, but my colleagues, maybe Andrius Liudas, can also add. I didn't have heard anything about that.
No worries. It's just to understand if there's something similar that we can try to understand the outcomes and how can we provide our expertise as well in this situation. But thank you for your presentation here. It was very welcoming. And now, Liudas, it's your time now. I guess you are my Lithuanian version, you know, considering your position in the fintech community as well. Is that right? Am I correct?
So Diego, first of all, I guess there's no other person in the world that could say that something similar to your position, you know. So so I am active in the fintech community, but you see, if to give a background, basically, when I started to work with the fintech, of course, this kind of word did not exist. We were like, you know, IT guys playing with the financials, yeah. So only in the later stage the word fintech was introduced, and then it was like, you know, challenging banks and all this stuff, and that was a time of like active, you know, angry challengers coming to bite into the bank's leg, you know, but now, of course, it seems that it is going to be stabilized, and now everyone has its own place. Yeah? So, and yes, of course, I was selected as the fintech leader personally. I was selected as the fintech leader as a company, but at one point there was a target, of course, to attract more companies into the field, international players, and of course, you know. As a frontier runners, we were kind of with my colleagues, we were really focused on, you know, promoting the Lithuanian fintech sector, kind of to attract more talent and more companies. And of course, the results now are fabulous. You know, we're number 2 in Europe, basically, according to the license issued, and the companies are really growing, and there's more and more employees in the companies, and that's really awesome. But you know, now I think that's in other hands. I'm focused on my own company now for quite a few years, but I'm really happy what is happening with the fintech sector here. Of course, I'm an active member in all the associations and still consulting quite a lot of people, you know, on different topics. But I cannot name myself something like you in Brazil anymore.
No, you're being humble. Okay, so tell us about your company, Ondato. Is that correctly?
Yeah, so you know, I found it. So basically, that was the also the outcome of the activity that was made before. And I've decided, you know, to help other financial institutions to benefit from the compliance, from the regulation, and to make that as easy as possible. So that's the aim. What we are working on. That's where we are you know, actively helping here in the region, and not only in the region actually. So you know, we are now quite active in US, in same Brazil, actually in Central America, and that's where we see a really good potential, because the regulations are similar. There's you know, really lots of the movement towards digital. Of course, COVID has its own you know, effect and on everyone, like trying to see what is happening in the digital world, and how to make the processes still happening, but when it's all limited. So yeah, so that's what we do. That's where we are moving.
Okay, perfect. I was browsing here until you were speaking about the people that are listening to us here, and there's some guys here related to big companies listen up to what we are talking here, and I guess they have the same effort and the same challenges to overcome in order to be in compliance with the new technologies and all the developments that has been deployed recently. And so what can you tell them? How is the best way to interact with a fintech company, or to interact with a very specific tech company to be in compliance with the legal framework or regulatory framework locally?
So you see, it is actually the question that I got 2 days ago. The same one, like how to deal with for the corporate, how to deal with the fintech companies, or how to deal with the smaller ones. So first of all, of course, the most important part is that the deal between the larger corporates or bigger companies should be happening by business people first, finding a business case and basically building the scenarios and all the stuff, because then they're flexible on the other side and what they're dealing with. So then they can talk with different people, like Andrius for SuperHow, or Domantas from Identify, or Liudas from Ondat, and to build a proper business case. And only then to introduce that case to the compliance people and the legal people, because the situation that we have now for like last I would say 10 years is that technology goes way faster than the compliance and than the legal stuff and the regulation. And if to start talking with from the compliance and from the legal side about the possibilities and projects and implementations, that just wouldn't be happening, and the innovation wouldn't be happening at all. Because if looking like just technically, there will be always some questions that you can just stop the project at whatever stage. So I believe that's one of the most important and key things.
Okay, perfect. And as you said, there's a difference of the pace between the legislation and regulation and then the innovation. But I believe that it's safe to keep some distance, because innovators must go faster, but the regulators shall not be that slow. So we have to make a balance between this distance, but it's safe and healthy.
Yeah, Diego. But there are really good examples, and maybe even Andrius can also comment on that. So we are solving these, like an example in Lithuania, or the example is taken from UK actually. So we have a regulatory sandbox where it's a limited playground, and limited in terms of how many people can be affected by one or other thing, and kind of with of course with the amounts that you can play with and all the stuff. But it's a real sandbox, and where the companies can actually come apply, and if the business model is approved, they're eligible then to play without any kind of license or whatever. And that's one of the good examples how it can make it happen, because then you can give the technology people the possibility to play around, to test some technologies, some waters and all the stuff, and later on to see how to regulate that stuff. But then not to stop the inventions basically and developments from that side. On the other hand, being quite stable, and the regulation is still there. So that could be one of the models, and that can be applicable not only in the financial industry, that can be applicable in other industries.
Yeah, for sure. Here in Brazil, we already have the regulatory sandboxes in an ongoing basis. But here we have more than one financial authority. We have one for the Securities and Exchange, another for banking services, and another for insurances and private patients. So we have 3 sandboxes, and we had more than around 100 applications. So everything's going to happen very fast here in Brazil in terms of innovation. So we are heading to the end of our conversation here. We have just more 7 or 8 minutes left, and unfortunately our group of audience here, they are some sort of shy. They did not drop any questions for us here, but we can make the last conversation here. So I'll drop a question here, and the same for everyone of you, for each of you, so you can elaborate maybe in 2-3 minutes of what is your vision. So what's your vision for FinTech evolution in the near future, okay? Especially considering a post-COVID scenario and how FinTech can thrive until the pandemic endures.
So starting with me, yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so actually Liudas told a lot, about the innovation being at the front and the regulation trying to catch up, and that's what's happening currently. And also what is happening behind the curtain, I think, is this systemic decentralization. And I like to say, not bank unbanked, but debank the banked. So it's another movement in parallel, I would say, pushed by the crypto market as well. And also central banks trying to catch up on that with the CBDC. I see also a good question by Caroline, actually. I think it is on the same topic, actually, about the CBDC and challenges, obstacles that central banks are facing and then how it is happening. So I think the most challenge by building the innovation is trying to fit something that is quite new into old shoes. And this is the worst scenario, I would say, worst scenario for any kind of application or any kind of innovation. And that's the same what is happening with the CBDC currently. So the rules of cash or the rules of money are trying to be applied onto CBDC. And this is one of the obstacles to solve, because when you're creating something, you shouldn't actually be tied to that old infrastructure, to that old method that you did, but try to look forward and how to change something and make it unique, make it last for 30, 40, or 50 years in the future, when you're building at that level of innovation as the central banks, for example. And what I'm seeing together with, for example, decentralized distributed finances that are also happening on the crypto market, and that is something that is also on the classical market already, because those are the tools, the instruments that are currently used by the investors and introduced in a different perspective, on a different technological level, removing the intermediaries and putting all the logic on the technology side. So what it means that in future we will see, finances as a service, as a technological service without any back office tied to it. So it's because KYC now we have Liudas, we have Ondata, we have Identify with Domantas. They can solve the KYC problems. And we are talking now about the self-sovereign identities, distributed identities already. So it is moving, everything is moving to digital. And I think that the future is where it is, like the digital. So not to keep the mic for long. So next, Domantas and Liudas.
Amazing. So Domantas, how about your vision?
So from our eyes, Identify as customers onboarding service, we see that COVID made extremely good conditions for fintechs on these times. And we see that people are changing behavior, starting to use more digital banks, online payment systems, and we see how much more comfortable it is comparing with traditional banks. Yes. And offline bank branches are not so valuable as previously, I can say. And I guess these behaviors will not change after the COVID period. So this period made digital transformation in our lives. Mm-hmm. So I believe the current time is for fintechs, and fintech should not miss these opportunities.
Okay, amazing. Thank you, Domantas. And Liudas, before you share your vision, there's a question for you here. So, can you see, or may I read it to you?
It's a question for Andrius, I guess, yeah? What are the main differences?
Yes, no, it's to Liudas. I can read it. I can read it here. Yeah. So it's Gianluca Benvenuti. He says, does your company monitor parliament propositions in Brazil and try to influence the process, or you just try to adapt through regulatory changes?
Of course, we try to monitor the provisions and to see what are the possibilities. But in general, anyway, we apply all the only the existing rules, and that what are the current regulations on in every jurisdiction. So in some jurisdictions, of course, we are following what are the initiatives and where are the kind of other possibilities opening. But in general, it's about the application of current situation and current legislation, and then evaluating all the customer base through that angle.
Okay, perfect. So maybe you have your first Brazilian customer if you don't have any other. Okay, just just to close our conversation, share with us your vision, and then I'll head for the end of our talk.
Okay, so I will try to be short if, as much as possible. Yeah, but that was already a bit of touched. But let's say what I see now as the nearest future. So that's for sure. Lots of the things will going to be decentralized, not because of the decentralization as such, but just because of getting rid of the intermediaries. And Andrius here is very, very right, because now it is just the time of cutting those intermediaries and whatever other unnecessary infrastructure parts. Yeah, so and that's where some of the technologies they serve very, very good. And then if looking at the, let's say, other part, of course, there is a big and huge demand on the security, on the safety in the online, and that's where, of course, everyone will shift a lot, and there will be lots of the investments there, and that will be also related with some parts of the infrastructure, like identity, an example. Yeah, so again, there will be less and less central databases holding some kind of huge data sets or something just to ensure the security. And that's not because somebody would like very much some kind of blockchain technology or whatever. It's just more about the how to secure the data and how to give the full power and control to the end consumer, than having implemented all the GDPR or whatever type of data protection policies, and on the meantime to give the power and of course the fraud risk reduction to the other end. Yeah, so and that's how it's shifting, and that's the reason of this shift. And I'm sure we'll see that happening because the COVID only showed the how problematic the sector is, how it is difficult to handle when it is built at this kind of infrastructure that we have today. And it's only the matter of time when we will shift to that direction.
Okay, perfect. Amazing thoughts. So we have 2 more questions, but unfortunately we have no more time left. So I'll suggest the audience to connect with our panelists on LinkedIn and drop them the questions over there. And I would like to very, very thank you, Andrius, Domantas, Liudas. It was a very good experience to have you here. And also a special thanks for the Lithuanian government, Carlos, which is the Brazilian consul locally here in São Paulo. He was very helpful to arrange this meeting. And also Laura, which is based in Vilnius, that is great people there. They connected us to the Lithuanian ecosystem. And hopefully we can meet again as soon as this situation goes to an end. Okay? Thank you very much. Obrigado a todos e see you there. Bye-bye.
Obrigado.
Thank you very much, Diego, for having us. Thanks.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.